Hi, welcome. Welcome, it's Karen Hadley here from stampingbees.co.nz. Welcome to another crafting day. I don't know about you, but it is sunny here. Beautiful sunny day in the middle of winter. I have my craft room in the garage. So on these sorts of days, I can open the door and really enjoy the day and hear all the birds. We live near a lot of bush, and so I love to be able to hear the birds. So maybe on the recording you might get to hear some also. I would like to share with you today another card using the Designer Series paper out of the Perennial Essence Suite. It is on pages 106 to 108 in the annual catalogue and was one of the first pages that I tagged because this paper is just glorious. It is so rich in colours. It is hand-painted impressionistic artists' rendition on the page. It is just glorious, and it is just standalone. You can use this with nothing else on your card, just a greeting, and it is perfect. If you follow my blog, you've seen the other two cards that I've posted, and today I would love to share with you a tutorial on the third card on this mini series that I've provided for you. I really do hope you enjoy it. Cheers! So this is the Perennial Essence Suite, and it is on pages 106 to 108. This is once again one of the suites that you can, if you wanted everything in the suite, you can order it with one single order number, which is fantastic, and everything is also individually available with the listed individual number next to it. And on this page it gives you a really clear picture of all the beautiful Designer Series paper, a nice big shot, and the stamp set. So that's 106 to 108 in the annual catalogue. And just one other quick thing to, when you're planning your cards, this is the Designer Series paper that I've got here. As I say, every sheet is beautiful. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking and planning of what you're going to be making with it, it is really helpful on the back because it has listed under the Perennial Essence Designer Series paper the colours that are used. So in here we've got Balmy Blue, Blackberry Bliss, Blueberry Bushel, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Petal Pink, So Saffron and Whisper White. So that's a really handy thing to check out on the back of each Designer Series paper. These are the cards that I have put on my blog this week. This one and this one using Balmy Blue. Just a little hint with this one, I used the pretty label punch, and I punched up two from the powder pink cardstock, scrunched them up, and then used the shimmery paint to give them that bit of shimmer before I pop the white one on top. And this is going to be the card that we're making today. I've just created this frame here, which we're going to do. If you don't have frames, this is a really quick and easy way to make a frame. And I thought I'd just do something a little bit different with putting the sentiment on top of the flower. Now the stamp set for this set, the Floral Essence Suite, did not have a sentiment small enough that I wanted to use. Beautiful sentiments, but just a little bit big for the flower. So I decided to use Hello out of the Well Said stamp set, which this has so many options in here. It's fantastic, and it comes with the dies to match. A really worthwhile stamp set to get if you don't have it. Okay, let's start making this card. I'm just going to pop these over to the side. And as we're using photopolymer stamps. I'll just get my foam out. As you're aware, the cling stamps have a little bit of foam underneath, so you don't need to add the foam for stamping. But the photopolymer stamps, it is quite good to use them on foam just to get a better, crisper image when you're stamping. I have popped a list of all the measurements, etc. at the beginning of this video. I have used thick cardstock for my base. I quite like to use the thick Whisper White cardstock for my base, and for other embellishments or add-on I just use the standard Whisper White cardstock, but it's really good just to have that lovely firm base. And this is just scrap here for making the frame. Okay, so to make the frame I have used the rectangle stitched framelit dies. Fantastic for labels and making frames. I have used not the biggest one, that would have taken up the whole sheet, so I've used the next size down and then 2 sizes down to create the frame. So we'll just run that through. I have it already set up. I'll just bring the big shot over. So it's the big shot. Now I've already taped this on here, so I've worked out how even that will be. So I'll just run that through. So I'm just still using the big shot until we produce our own die cutting machine. Oops, never done this on camera before, so bear with me. Fantastic, so I'll pop that over there and I'll just straighten everything up. Okay, so you can save the middle piece for future card making, and we have a frame. So I felt this frame was just a little bit plain, so I wanted to add something to it. So just bringing the big shot back again, I decided to use the floral 3D embossing folder just to add a little bit of shape to this frame. Bit of interest. So as you know, you only need 1 plate to run this through. So wonderful. So as you can see, oops, that over there, that's just given that some lovely pattern and interest on that frame. So I've pre-cut the designer series paper, and I'm just going to glue that onto the front of the card. It's always a good idea to keep your glue upright, and it's easy and quick to use. See, there's lots of fantastic ideas out there for creating ways to keep them upright. Now, I'm not quite sure which way we'll put that one. I think we'll put it that way. So, oh, actually, one more step. Nearly forgot. I've also decided to pop this through the subtle embossing folder. So just to give it, I did have it on the plain cardstock, but then I looked at it and thought I just need a little something. Now this subtle embossing folder, I just love this folder. This would be my favourite all-time embossing folder. Just gives a very subtle texture to your cardstock. Nothing huge, but just just a touch of something sometimes when you just don't want plain cardstock. The other fantastic thing is if you do a watercolour or something like that and you run it through this, it makes it look as though you've actually put that watercolour onto canvas. So that's another great use for it. Now I'll bring this back again. I don't know if you're aware, but I'll just let you know that when you run these 3D embossing folders through, you really do need to run them through your big shot with the hinge part first. If you don't, then it often splits the paper. So it's quite a handy thing to know, because I went through a few thinking that it was I wasn't doing something quite right until I was told that that's what you need to do. Right, now the other little trick is you run the, you have the embossing folder up to the crease in your card, and then when you use the plate, only take it to the end of that folder, and that means the rest of your cardstock won't get any of the marks from your plate on it, which is always handy. Nothing worse than having to restart because you've got lots of patterns that you didn't intend on your card. Okay, I'm just popping that over there. Okay, so as you can see, that's just given that a little bit of texture on there. So hopefully I might just pop a little bit more glue on there. It does dry quite fast. And I think I said last time, but I am a glue user in the sense that I like to have a little bit of playtime, a wiggle room, in case I've popped. I don't seem to have a very good eye for getting something straight. So I really do like being able to just move something if I haven't got it right. Okay, so we've popped that on. Now the next thing is the frame. So we have the frame there, and rather than popping on lots and lots of dimensionals, which would take a lot of time, the Stampin' Up has these foam adhesive strips. So perfect for this sort of thing. So just popping that over, and we'll just run some down each side. So I just paused you for a moment while I put these strips on the back, because I'm sure you don't need to watch me doing that. It's pretty straightforward. Right, let's just pop this on here and hope that I get it nice and straight. There we go. So just a little frame to highlight that beautiful designer series paper. Okay, so now we're going to make the little sentiment and use the ribbon and the embellishments. So to start off with, we're going to be using this scrap bit of white paper that you should have. I have written in the list of materials that you will need. So we're using the petal pink, and we're going to be stamping some flowers. Just a quick note on this, always good to note on your punch how the punch stamps out. As you can see, this punch is shaped like this with the two petals on the bottom. So a great idea for making it very easy when you punch it out is to stamp it so that these two flowers are on the bottom. So we will just ink that up, just tapping, not pushing hard into the ink pad, and I'll just grab the foam. I keep plastic on it just because if I'm using it for stamping, I don't want to get ink all over the foam. 1, 2. So these ink pads you just push and shut. Now I decided to use Blackberry Bliss with this, as that was one of the colours listed on the back. And I'm just going to twist that around. Now I don't need the foam this time because this is already got the foam on the stamp. It's just a little hello. So I'm just going to get that right over to that side as much as I can. And just tap it on, just like that. I'll just shut that, I don't want that to dry out. I always get ink on me. Okay, so let's pop this one out. So as you can see, it just fits into there very easily. Not having to twist the paper around or cut anything off. One, whoop, shoots off. And two. Excellent. I'll pop that over to the side. I will just use these glue dots. I don't seem to have the knack with glue dots like some people do. I'm just going to pop one on the back of here. There we are, actually went on. And we'll pop that like so. And I'm just going to put a couple more on the back because we are going to put the ribbon on the back, and this is just to get it started. Always end up with them everywhere, these glue dots. Okay, I'm just going to fold this ribbon in half. That's the 15 centimetre ribbon. I've got the glue dots on the back, so just about there. And then I'm just going to use some, I'll just pop these down here, I think, because I want to be able to manoeuvre it onto the cardstock with the glue dot. So I'll pop that there, then I will just cross that over a bit. Might bring that up a little bit further. There we go. And then always keep a pair of scissors that you use for ribbon only, not your paper scissors, because they tend to get blunt on using them on cardstock. So I'll just trim that a little bit there. Oops. Just play around with it until you're happy to where it is. Playing ball with me at the moment. Right, now I love my embellishments, so I will just pop that on. That's going to annoy me. And that is too. Might just pop another one of these under. To secure it. There we go, that's better. And I'm just going to pop some beautiful pearls. I thought they really would be appropriate for this paper. And bit of Wink of Stella. I just love Wink of Stella. It just adds that little bit of something, doesn't it? That little bit of twinkle, especially with flowers. You probably can't see it there, but just adds a bit of shimmer. And for inside your card and for your envelope, I always like to add something to the envelope as well. Oops, running over here. I'm just going to stamp this flower on the inside with petal pink. So 1, and then I'm just going to turn it on the next angle. 2. And there you have it. Quick and easy frame, patterned frame, just to highlight that paper. So if you'd like to know any more, or you'd like to visit my site on www.stampingbees.co.nz, I'd love to hear from you. I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.